Hey everyone, I'm Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Hurt Podcast. Thank you for being on my show tonight. And today we have an amazing comedian with us. His name is Eddie. Hey Eddie, how are you?
How's everybody doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for being on. I really appreciate you.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy. I'm happy to join.
Yes. So, first and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Born and raised Washington D.C. Well, I should say more. I was born in Washington D.C. Um, Raised and graduated from Blaisburg High School in Maryland. Um, Went on to college and just didn't really work out. Restaurant manager, and then jumped into stand up. It was a lifelong dream. It took me a while to finally like pull the trigger to do it, but I'm happy I did it 10 years ago.
That is amazing. So, being a comedian, especially in the beginning, did you find it really difficult? Because you know, you can have a tough crowd sometimes.
I mean, I say this, I do say this on stage, literally at the end of my sets or shows. Um, the crowd can make or break a comic. Everybody thinks like they just coming out to pay, and the comic's supposed to make their life so happy. It's like I can't help your life be happier, right? I'm gonna tell things that I find funny, and my hopes is that you find it funny. And the people that do that the best is the people who make the most money, right? But at the end of the day, like if an audience doesn't want to hear you, then they just don't want to hear you. You know what I mean? And so a lot of
Right.
people take that to heart sometimes. As comics, a lot of comics want to they feel like well, the audience didn't give me a chance, right? It's like
Right.
if the audience didn't give you a chance, they just didn't give you a chance. That means they ain't want to hear you today. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's a hard game because you're relying on other people to either one get you or be willing to listen to you. And then it's a hard game because it takes a long time to start figuring out which audiences do listen to you and which audience want to hear you. So
Right. So with you doing this for 10 years, how was the transition from you actually working and playing football and everything and then just jump into comedian?
I mean, you still working. That's the one thing that I noticed about a lot of people, especially in entertainment. They feel like, oh, because you're a comedian now, you don't have a day job. I was like, nah, I'm still doing a day job. So
Wow.
is the work life balance is trash as a comedian, especially until you start getting your needs met with only comedy income. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it is a hard transition to pull, but I still so I never really the point is I never really left the quote unquote workforce uh,
Okay.
until and the hopes is in the next coming years I'm able to make enough money to be able to afford to do that. But I live in New York City, so yeah, DC expensive. We ain't nothing like this. It ain't nothing like this. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, like at least in DC, everybody moves out to Maryland and you just drive back to DC because there's no tolls, right? Like here, you don't have that option, right? Like everywhere,
Right.
even inside of the city, there's tolls. So you just gotta you make it work, and until I can, like I said, until I'm big enough and known enough around the world where I can pay all my bills and only do comedy, like I'll be doing both.
Man, I just feel like comedy is just so difficult sometimes because I be seeing people that be funny, and but other people don't be thinking they funny.
Well,
So,
this
like, how do
yeah.
you be feeling? Like, how do you feel like when you on stage and you feel like some people laughed and some people didn't?
Okay. So there's a famous quote by Patrice O'Neill where he says, when you do comedy, 50% of the audience should be laughing, 50% of the audience should be like, what the hell did he just say? All right.
Okay.
And the God's honest truth is everybody's sense of humor is different. And
Right.
so what happens is if you find a person who hits everybody's sense of humor, like every single person's sense of humor, that person's fake. He's not a real person. That person's not a real person. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
she's placating to different rooms, or he's changing his material to fit people, and it's like you don't like as a comic. You're finding you're funny, and by finding
Mhm.
you're funny, you use your funny in hopes that other people find your funny funny. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
again, it's hard. It's a hard thing to get to a point where you can do multiple styles of rooms with also staying true to yourself. And then the hope is you get to the point where everybody realizes that everybody that's coming to see you already knows you're funny, so they're coming to see you're funny. So you don't have to
Right.
really worry about if people are like, "Oh, I don't like this person." Don't come to my show.
I know that's right. That is so funny. So as far as everything, when you do comedy and stuff, what is one of the most difficult moments that you did have?
Whew. You talking about this week or? I mean, the most difficult.
In the last couple years.
Yeah, the most. I mean, at the end of the day, the most difficult thing on comedy is the person who's on stage. Are they in the right mindset? A lot of people don't
Yeah.
realize that, right? Like, so, like at the end of the day, stand up comedy is a job, right? It's my part time job, right? And so people always think like, oh, well, it's just he's a comedian, right? Like, oh, it's like it's just his hobby, right? It is like, nah, homie. Like when I go out, I literally spend 2 hours. I get to a show, say a show starts at 9 o'clock. Even if I'm headlining, I'm not going up until like 9:45. But because I gotta be professional, I gotta get there at 8:30. So I literally went from to work from 8:30 to 9:30, 9:45, right? Did an hour on stage, right? It's now 10. I just did 2 hours of work, right? I actually worked. But unlike most people's traditional jobs, my mindset has to be set there the entire day for those 2 hours.
Wow.
So it's like a lot of people like it's the hardest part of comedy is, and this is I don't know if it's true for everybody, but at least for me, is making sure I stay in the correct mind state from the time I wake up to the time I come off stage, right? And so that leaves a lot of time with with friends and family and personal life. Like it's very hard on the people that support you. It's so hard on them because it's like, yeah, I can't talk about nothing today that's going to put my mind at whack. And it's like because I got to perform tonight, and the
Right.
more you're performing, like in New York City, we perform almost every day, right? And we don't know when somebody might show up, see us perform, and now they're like, "Hey, you want to audition for this part I got?" You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or we thought you were super funny. We want to help you out some way somehow, right? Like, let me follow you on Instagram, and that person is followed by somebody else, and they share your stuff. All of those different things can happen at any point in time. So it's like, if you're not in the right mindset before you walk on that stage, and that goes for like somebody passing away, a little
Yeah.
argument over taking the trash out. You know what I'm saying? Certain bigger stuff like you got kids, so it's that's the hardest part for me, and I think it is for a lot of comics. Everything else is just like it's part of the game.
I bet it is. So what was one of your most difficult moments when you did have to go on stage and you were personally going through something?
I mean, I use so my one of my really close cousins passed away during COVID, and that like literally the next day I had a show. So that like, and it's one of those things where if you're like I do a lot of stories about family, so I think I did jokes that night that I'll never do again, right?
Okay.
Just because I was just there, right? But it's like my cousin really pushed me for stand up, right? He owned a pizza shop on Wisconsin Avenue in DC. Um, and like literally used to be when I was first coming up, like yo, like you should put shows on here. Like, do you want to, like, I'll pay you to put the shows on here. I just want to make sure it works. You know what I mean? Um, it was a lot of different things that he did for me, and we talked about a lot of different stuff. So like just that night, just to like, it was like I had to spend the night before crying and yelling.
Wow.
Went to go do karaoke. Swear to God, literally went to go do karaoke, and then literally
Wow.
the next day had to like just think about everything that was good about my cousin. I couldn't think about nothing bad. And then you know what I mean, cried
Man.
crazy the day after like the show. But that's just it's just how this it's our life, right? Like um
Yeah.
I've had my daughter broke her arm once before a show, and that one
Wow.
like messed me up. So it's like we're human beings, right? But our job is to literally make you laugh, and nobody wants to hear you go on stage and be like, "Yeah, so my cousin just died." Like, whoa, bro! Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's a hard feat to go up against somebody dying. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Seriously, because somebody in the audience probably felt the same way, but came to
exactly. So
laugh.
now everybody feeling sorry instead of happy. And now you up there
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. Let me talk about my penis. Like, whoa, bro, come on. You already took the mood all the way down, and now you want to talk about body parts? I'm out of here.
Right.
I'm good.
That is so true.
That,
So
that
how
happens more than people know.
I bet it do. So
Like I've seen people get their car repoed uh, and had to go on stage. I've seen people
really?
catch. Like literally before you went on stage, like car got repoed. I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen a comic get in a car accident and then still
Wow.
come to the show right out the beginning,
Wow.
like getting in like a good car accident.
Wow.
So I mean, it happens. This is our life, right? Like this is our bread and butter. So it's like, yeah, if you switch, the closer you get to leaving the traditional workforce, the more you got to rely on this stuff. And the reality is if you don't show up to these little small gigs, it's harder for people to trust you for the bigger ones. So
Yeah.
no matter what's going on in your life,
You
keep
gotta
moving.
keep going. Wow. I never even knew that. In to put it in perspective, we're coming there to just laugh
Yeah,
and come see you, but just to know the back end of people, the struggles of that you go through to even just be standing there to make other people laugh, but deep down inside, you feel like just crying.
it's a good book called Tears of a Clown, right? Like and like people, the clown's job is to help you forget your stuff. So you
Right.
naturally you're not gonna give a rat's, you know what I mean, about their stuff.
Right.
That's just how it works. Um, so you keep pushing, you keep grinding, and then the goal is to get enough reps where if you got so many reps, even if you're going through stuff, you can just autopilot through it, right? You know how
Mhm.
it's supposed to sound, you know when it's supposed to sound, so on and so forth. So you get a lot of people that when they're going through these things, they just keep going because they've been doing it so long, or they've done it so much that they know how to compartmentalize it just for those 10 to 45 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right. Wow. So, how do you describe your comedian style, like the type of humor that you would specialize in?
So for me, it's more about stories. So I just try to take stories and flip them on their head. And some of the story, like I don't tell untrue stories on stage. I'm not that guy. So it's like it kind of
Okay.
it's so everybody doesn't realize like there are different styles of comedy. Not all comedy is the same comedy, right? And so people will be like, "Yo, what's your style?" You be like, "Yeah, I'm a dark comic," and they're like, "What does that mean?"
Like what?
Like, oh, you dark skin? Like, no, dude. Like, so like, it's finding for me. It's more like finding moments that happen um that aren't believable, and then turn them
Okay.
into jokes. So, and the reason why I do it that way instead of doing the believable, because the believable is more like if somebody tells you, it's like, oh, that's a sad story. But when you say a sad story that's unbelievable, and then you show the hypocrisies and the funniness in that, it catches people a lot. It catches a lot of people off guard. So it's fun. It hits the different elements of comedy, and um,
Man.
It makes you have a good time reliving like situations that you're like, yo, this really happened to me, right? And you can do
Right.
it without telling people that it really happened to you. And sometimes you do it, um, sometimes you do it on purpose for them to know that, like, no, listen, this truly happened. So it's like you just have fun. But my
Yeah.
that's more my style. Like I just talk about different things that's happened in my life, from the fights, from the loves, from the you know what I'm saying, the time with my daughter to the time with my parents, um, to the you know what I mean, some of the times I play football. So it's like, yeah, it's fun, you know. It's weird because I'm a big dude, so it's like you don't.
Right.
I some of the comedy that I have to do is stuff that is more because these are the questions that people ask me every day because I'm a big dude. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you just gotta keep moving, you keep grinding, and but that with my style, it allows me to take those experiences and turn them into funny stories.
That is pretty dope. So even before you became a comedian, did you have from you playing football, did you plan on going to the NFL or it was just you was just playing just to play?
I was a basketball player, so the guys
Really?
on the street is like I played basketball all my life, um, and I was good with no work ethic, right? So like I liked playing basketball, but I was one of those kids that got into AAU, and AAU ruined them, right?
Really?
Yeah, so like, and it's weird. So like, I used to sing, so I was a singer growing up, right? So I was this tall, slinky kid that literally could just sing, right? So that's all I wanted to do. But because I was tall, everybody's like, well, you should be playing basketball, right?
Right.
So I went like I played with two different NBA players, right? Like I played on teams with two different NBA players growing up, right? Um, and it was just like, yeah, you gotta be here to do this. Oh, why are you not doing it like them? Why are you not? It's like these dudes later on in life. It's like these dudes went to the NBA, bro. Like that's how much better they were to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Right.
shouldn't have been here at all, right? Um. So, but I played basketball for a long time, and then my junior year, I got into some trouble. Like somebody, they tried to help me play football once. First play, I go out, go to tackle somebody, miss. A player jumps, like it tries to tackle him too, jumps on my back, breaks my wrist. Uh,
Wow.
so I was like, yeah, I'm good on football. Like I never liked football, like to play. I like watching it. I hate playing. But then my junior year, I was about to get kicked out of school, just being a kid, a kid that was troubled, and so when I almost get kicked out of school, my principal, Dr. Stouffer, kept me like held it off, like pushed it off because I was really good in class. I was a math kid, so it was like he was like, yeah, he's smart, he's just dumb, right? Like that was his thing. Like he's smart,
Man.
but he don't like rules. He liked to talk, like all these different things, and so the coach came up to me and was like, "Yo, you're big. You already lost your basketball scholarship. You're not gonna play basketball no more, right? Like, or you're gonna have to go through a JUCO to get into college. How about you play football? Let me see if I can get you a scholarship." And so my senior year was the only year I played football. I played a whole season of football, mind you. When I played, I was fast off the line. So schools started scouting me. I just got lucky. You know what I mean? Like I had a guy on my
Okay.
team that I call my brother to this day, um, who was getting scouted for school. So all these other schools started scouting me because they were looking at him. And I was just fast on the ball. Didn't know what I was doing. Wasn't a football, like I said, not a football player. Never really lift weights at all. Right. And then I get a scholarship. I go to Bowie, and that singing never left. You know, like I always wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to be on stage. That was my whole thing growing up. Right. I saw my uncle E Boogie. My uncle's a comedian from the DC area too that started back like before, like with the big names from DC. Um, and every time he used to come around, everybody loved my uncle. Right. My uncle was E Boogie was the man. Um, and so when I went to school, I was like, well, I'm here. What am I going to study? So I was like, you know what? I'm studying theater, right? So I was a theater,
Yeah.
I was a theater major,
So you
right?
did Broadway?
I did. I wanted to. My whole goal. I swear to you, my goal was. I was like, I don't care. I don't care what nobody says, bro. I'm doing Broadway and radio. That was
I
my
know that's
entire
right.
goal in life. Right. I was gonna be a Broadway singer and do radio. Right. And I only got the radio bug uh, from Flex from 95,
Right.
95.5.
Funk
Flex
Flex.
would just come on. Flex. I was like, yo, everybody loves Flex, bro. And I was such a dumb kid. I thought Flex was also Funk Flex from New York. So I'm like, yo, he's like syndicated, bro. Like he in New York, but he repping DC and all this. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. So as soon as my shoulders went out, like football, I was not made for football. Right? Like somebody they took my shoulder out. I popped my shoulder out of place. And I was like, yeah, every time I play this sport, I get hurt. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
wasn't really paying attention in school. Again, math, I was killing every other class. I was doing horrible. Besides theater and shout out Dr. Briscoe, freshman, our freshman orientator. Like other than that, I was horrible at school, man.
What?
If it wasn't math or theater, I was trash. Uh,
Oh my gosh.
and so like, it was real weird, man. Like I got A's in math and everything, every other class. I think history, I think I got a C. History 101, I got a C. And then after that, I was just like all D's and E's. Like it was just like, why is he here? Like he's just wasting money. So when I left that, I was like, well, I don't have a way to get back on stage. Like that was all I cared about was being on stage, acting and going on stage. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna move to LA because I was going to go to the Air Force. I was like, I'm gonna go to the Air Force, make some money, come back. I had passed the classes and everything like that. I can go to boot camp. And when I went and played football, I got so big that I actually got hit with sleep apnea. And you
Wow.
can't go to the military with sleep apnea. You can't go with
Right.
pre diagnosed sleep apnea. So that cut out military. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to LA. I'm gonna move to Hollywood, do all these things, and I was just a dreamer, and it never happened. Like, I
Wow.
I had found a girl that I was like, oh yeah, me and her for life. We're gonna have one of them love stories when you and you met your wife at college, and now y'all both, you know what I'm saying, making it. And they were like, what you gonna make it at? I was like, I don't know yet. But
Just
we gonna do it.
something.
Yeah, just dumb stuff as a kid. And so when we broke up, her uncle was a comic as well. And I was like, man, I always said I was gonna do this comedy thing. You know what I mean? Went to an open mic. I went to an open mic for a year before I got on stage. And
Wow.
I would not get on stage. I was like, nah, I'm not funny. I go up, they was like, yo, you're funny. I was like, ah, yeah, I got this, man. I got this. I didn't know that comics do that to every new comic. So like that's the one thing that people when all the big time guys come on, they be like, man, yeah, when I first started, I hit the stage, I killed it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I just never look back. It's like, yeah,
Right.
because comics want friends, right? Like a lot of comedians just want friends. So they're like, and they know how hard it is to do comedy. So they don't want you to quit. So they always
Right.
like, yeah, man, that was so fun. You were good, man. You gonna be somebody one day. That was amazing what you did up there. And they didn't even listen to your set. They
Wow.
didn't even hear what you said on stage. They didn't care. It was just like, yo, you're great, man. So I had that happen. Brought all my friends out, and for another year, I just pooped the bed every day for a whole year. I did not do one good set for an entire year, and I was everywhere. I would go to different
Wow.
shows. I would be everywhere, and it was just like no.
Aw.
Because you know, like a lot of people think comedy is just getting on stage and just talking. No, bro, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like the God's honest truth is, you know funnier people than every comedian you've ever seen. We all know that person, right? We all got that dude in our family.
Yes. We
Funniest
do.
person you ever met in your life, right? Tells the best stories, right? Just jokes and makes everybody laugh. He's the funniest person, or she's the funniest person, and and they try to go on stage and they going bomb, bomb. Because
Dig is a
like
different.
you gotta write this stuff. You can't.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I love when people just go off the top of their head. Let me give them a background secret. It's not off the top of their head all the time. Sometimes you just know the triggers, right? But most
Right.
of it, I write a lot. Every my phone, I'll be like, oh, that was funny. Blah 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 blah. I'll type it out. I might never take it on stage, but a situation in the audience might happen. Boom, I already got it because I already
Yeah.
wrote it. You see what I'm saying? So it is off the top of my head. It's not part of my set, but I already wrote it out. I already knew if this ever happened, I'm saying this.
Wow.
So
That
yeah.
that is amazing. So I know you had a privilege to do an opening for the Tony Woods.
Yeah. So I feature with Tony Wood sometimes on the road. That's the OG. The funny story about Tony. First time, so again, my uncle's E Boogie. So like E Boogie used to have these shows, and I would see his flyers and stuff like that, and always would say Tony Woods. And then I remember watching Bad Boys in Comedy, and Tony Woods talking about he was in the pool in Jamaica, and they would talk about the color changing when you pee in the pool, and the pool color change was red, so he thought his wiener was fucking was I'm sorry, I mean the curse, but he's like he didn't know he thought his little wiener was bleeding, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So he walks in, I'll never forget, to Blue Banana. It was an open mic back in the day ran by Haywood Turnip Seed and Pat Coffee. Ran operated by my boy Ralph Cooper, my brother Ralph Cooper, and Tony Woods walks in, and I was like, "Yo, that's the dude, bro." He goes on stage and just murders, and I'm like, "Yo, what? Like, this dude's freaking amazing, man." We all go outside, we're smoking cigarettes. Tony walks up to me, and I'm just staring Tony in the eyes, like, "Yo, you're dope, bro." Like just straight career crush. Like, yeah, man,
Right.
you're dope as hell, man. And he literally looks at me, taps my pocket, and says, "Give me a cigarette." Right? So I'm like, and instantly I switch back to like the guy from what I'm saying, First and Emerson, and I'm like, who who the f are you, bro? Like, don't touch my pocket, fam. Like, all the admiration is out the window.
Everything
Like, don't touch
go.
my pocket, fam. What's wrong with you? But I see everybody else laughing, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm part of the crew. Like, I forgot. I'm a comedian now. All right, cool. So I'm like, oh, all right, nah, you good, though. Don't top my pocket again. I'm like, give him the cigarette. The next week, I come, I see, not 2 weeks later, I see Tony Woods at another open mic. I'm like, what's up, Tony? Because in my head, Tony loves me. You know, Tony Woods, one
Right.
of the guys that I look up to, he loves me, right? He just topped my pocket, made me part of the crew, right? I walk up, I said, I top his pocket. Hey, let me get a cigarette. Who is this big dude just walking up on you? I'm like, yo, like, nah, he did it to me last week. Tony Woods, every time he introduces me to people, he tells people I bullied him out of a cigarette 10 years ago. I said, dog, you took the cigarette from me first, man. Like, what are you talking about? Is it But me, so like Tony's been a real big aspiration of mine on stage. Just the way a lot of people, I know people, I have friends who are like, Tony Woods is one of the greatest comics I've ever seen in my life. And I have friends who are like, I don't get what he's talking about. And one of the things that I learned with Tony is Tony goes in and out of stories. Like, it's so fast. And so like, and his speech pattern is just different, right? He pauses out of nowhere, taps the mic. What's name? It's like he's trying to like put you in a hypnotic state, right? And what I started noticing is everybody that loves Tony Woods was people that came to the show like, yo, this is gonna be fun. I got a night away from the kids. I'm not thinking about my bills. I'm not thinking about the people that did stuff to me last week. I'm here to enjoy the show. Those people absolutely, positively would tell you Tony Woods is one of the greatest comics to ever live, right? If they came thinking that Tony Woods was going to make them laugh because their life is trash and they going through all of these things and they carrying all that stuff on their back and Tony Wood starts trying to put him in underneath that hypnosis, they like, I don't get it. He keeps typing the mic. Why did he keep typing the mic? I don't get it. You know what I mean? So it's like, and Tony does not care. Like,
Wow.
anyway, so are you gonna pay me? Am I gonna go on stage? Cool, let's go. That's all.
Mhm.
And I had to take that mindset. So I learned a lot from like doing shows with him, and opening up for him. But and also he has also opened up other doors for me too as well, which I'm very grateful for. With other comics such as Dirk Gaines, Godfrey, Joe Claire, you know what I mean. So the list goes on, right? And now I'm in
Right.
a position. Larry Lancaster, Eddie Bryant, like I'm in the position now where now I'm starting to move into C Club headliner status.
That's
So it's like,
good.
all right, cool. Now, Eddie, show what you got. Now you doing the 45. I'm not just the guy that's doing 25 in front of Tony Woods. Now I'm the main attraction. So it's like when you the main attraction, that pressure's completely different.
Yeah, that's so
I mean,
true.
so it's like I'm happy that I got to do that time with him. Shoot, Dave Chappelle. I did things with Dave Chappelle because of Tony, and Tony made fun of me on the phone. First time I'm ever meeting Dave Chappelle. Same situations when I met Tony. I'm hyper. I'm wow. I get to meet Dave Chappelle. It's gonna be fun. My boy Ivan Martin just set it up, and then Dave Chappelle comes in, and Tony's on the phone with Dave Chappelle, and the only thing I hear is Dave like, what up, Tony? What? Yeah, yeah. And then he just looks at me and busts and going ham. And I was like, what just happened? He's like, he said, you look like the guy from Family Matters. He said, your name's Eddie Winslow. I was like, thanks. This is a lot. My first time, he's just making fun of me for no reason. So I
Welcome
love
to
Tony,
the,
man. I love
that's
Tony.
that welcome.
And I
Welcome to
give
the
a lot of my
family.
credit to Tony Woods. Yeah.
That's amazing. So tell me about Broken Diamond Comedy.
So Broken Diamond Comedy, I used to promote when I was doing so. I had a life. I swear to God, I had a life. I used to sell cell phones with a guy named Oatmeal, uh, Oatmeal, and he's still one of my business partners to this day. We used to own a cell phone store, but we used to also on the side set up go-go. So I used to set up back lines. Like a lot of people don't like. I used to set up the back line, like the drum instruments and stuff for go-go
Mm-hmm.
bands. And then started promoting go-go. So when I got into comedy, it was a lot. I was like, yo, like these shows don't have people. Like, why don't these shows have people? They're like, because most people don't go out to comedy shows and people don't do this and people don't do that. And I was like, yeah, go-go isn't like it's a known music artistry and a music industry in DC, but people don't really go to go-go shows because they're not safe, right?
Right, that's true.
But
Yeah.
we kept going, like, but you would show up to these go-go's with a 400 person capacity, and it'd be sold out, right? Like, or you go see, like I tell people this Reaction Band. I was part of the team that brought Reaction Band and Nicki Minaj to Brian Manor back in the day, right? And this is the first
Mm.
time This is before Nicki was big and everything. She wasn't like she was just this girl that was on mixtapes that everybody thought used to be a stripper, right? Like she wasn't Nicki Minaj at all. And it's just 250 people in there, right? And we lost money, and people were like, "Yo, like Go-Go's dead. Ain't nobody going to Go-Go shows." And I was like, so when they tell me this in comedy, I'm like, that's not true. What it is y'all not promoting to the people that would go to the shows. You're so
Mm.
worried about like, and this happens in any business. Everybody's so worried in business. Everybody's so worried about the people that they know, thinking that they're not cool,
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
I don't want to do it because you know what I'm saying. That's not cool in my hood. Your hood already has something that they think is cool, and your hood is
True.
not going to continually showing up. I don't care who you are. How big is your hood? Because I'm from DC. I know Bammers who don't mess with the dude down the street. Like literally, your hood is this one block, right? Is this one block of maybe if you live in the projects, 100 to 200 people. If you live in the apartments, 50 to 100 people, and if you live in houses, maybe 50 people, right? So that's your block, right? That's your hood, right? If you only do things to protect like that goes with the people that's from your hood, you're not gonna have a turnaround. Like you're gonna do one show, it's gonna sell out, and then it's done, right?
Right.
So that means I gotta hit as many people as possible so that I can, you know what I'm saying, continually grow. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the go-go method, right? So I was one of those kids that I did. So a friend of mine told me about social media. I lost a crap ton of money on social media. I was like, this is stupid. I'm not doing social media no more. I get a whole rack of flyers made. I go to the guys that print out flyers in Rockville for the go-go shows. I send in what I need to do. I get 5,000 flyers, and I literally hit the street. And they was like, "You're not gonna
Mhm.
pass out 5,000 flyers?" I was like, "Bet." I pass out 5,000 flyers. Boom, 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 boom. And I do a show. I do a show at Bus Boys and Poets, and I never forget. It
Nice.
was sold out 2 days before the show happened.
Wow, that's
Everybody's like,
amazing.
and it's before everybody was really using Bus Boys, and people was like, "Yo, you sold this?" I was like, "Yeah, bro. I like this is what I do." So then I go to Sonomas. I'm like, I will duplicate this. Didn't work out well. It didn't work out well at all, right? And I knew everybody in Sonomas. I was like, oh crap. I went back to this is my hood. So then when I get to the hideout, I was like, you know what? I know everybody at the hideout. I used to do security here, but if I only focus on these people that I know, they gonna come when they want to come. Either way, I can't focus on
Mhm.
them. And so we just started promoting outside of the hideout. And now I think the hideout's been running. I've been doing comedy since 20 2012, 2013.
Mhm.
The hideout has been running since 2015, 2016.
Wow.
And literally every week every month, just pop, 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 pop. And we never moved it up. We could have moved it up to weekly a couple times. We chose not to. We keep it at a month. So I come back home once a month. It's a way for me to come back to see my kid. Um, it's a way for me to come back and see my friends and family. And
Wow.
then I do the hideout. And I drive my black behind back up to New York. So people were like, hold up, you just drove down for a day? I'm like, dude, it's 3 hours.
Yeah, right,
It's
for
not as bad
real.
as you might think. It's 3.5 hours. It's not that bad.
No, it's not.
Like I bought
So,
me and my girlfriend went down. She went down with me to like we stayed at my mom's house, drove
uh-huh.
right back up. Like literally drove down, drove back up.
Yeah.
Like it's not that hard. And then now Broken Diamond since we established fully in 2017, we now do the shows for the DC Comedy Festival. We now do shows with DuPont Underground. We had the Hideout. We had Miracle Theater. We had all of the Bus Boys and Poets. We've done every single one of them. We had State Fair in Baltimore. We did shows for the Baltimore Comedy Festival. So it's like we just moving. Now we're in
That's
New York,
good.
So now we're doing shows with the Grizzly Pair in New York, and soon we did some with QEC. Now we're moving into other deals with other areas, and soon the goal is in like probably the next 5 years we'll probably open up our own comedy club.
That is amazing.
I mean,
Congratulations. It's
this is all
coming.
fingers crossed. All fingers crossed.
Oh, it's coming. You gotta have that faith, man.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
You got to. So how can people follow you and look you up and watch your some of your
Yeah.
stand up and
So
everything?
I mean, my logo. Where is that? Boom. Here we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Boom. I found it. Uh, that's all social media platforms. As well as we have the DC Comedy Festival coming up. So for next year, this will be our 6th year, the sixth annual. So our spring festival, we start with our goal is to get back. Hopefully, God willing, we get to the spring and the fall. So we ran fall September,
Okay.
and sold out. It was amazing. Thank you to everybody that came out. And then spring is coming. So for April 8th, I believe it's April 8th through 13th, we'll
Mhm.
have the spring festival.
I
And right
know
now
it.
we're running submissions for that online, and it's kind of dope. This will be the first year. I think we have the scheduled as of right now. We have DuPont Underground, every Bus Boys in the DMV, Miracle Theater, Howard Theater, Union Stage, and that's just the ones that are right now. And we run the festival through all the producers in DC that want to join.
Wow.
Is we don't charge them for that. We don't charge the producers for that. The whole point of the DC Comedy Festival was to showcase the DC scene as a whole,
Hmm.
the venues and the producers that like literally have shows every night.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, like, because people don't realize how much talent is in DC until they blow up and leave. Right? It's like,
Okay.
nah, like these people started at the shows that were running, have been running for 10, 15 years. You know what I mean? And
So you got
so
a website for the
yep, it'll
festival?
be dccomedyfestival.com.
Okay, cool. That is amazing. So, what is some inspiring and encouraging words that you could share with someone that's pursuing to become a comedian?
Don't do it.
Oh shoot!
That's my inspiring words.
Oh my
Do not, do not do this. This is look, I feel like a drug addict right now. Listen, don't be like me. Do not do this.
God!
This is not a great job. Okay, this is a horrible job. I mean,
Mhm.
the guys I shoot those seriously. If no matter what anybody tells you, you could not be the funniest person in your friend group. If you are willing to get on that stage, right, then do it. Don't worry about what the joke gonna be. Don't just go up there and do it. Now, once you do it, understand that you have to work at this. If you think like, I went on stage, I'm funny, I'm gonna just keep doing that. No,
Nah.
it's not good. I'm telling you, when you first start, you are not good. You got 2 years of biting crow. Like it's that serious, right? Like every blue moon there's savants, right? There's kids that can sit down at a piano that have never been taught piano and play melodies. It's crazy.
Mm.
It happens though, right?
Yeah, I do.
You ain't that person, right? So if you're willing to come in and you're willing to work at this, right? Figure out timing, figure out stage presence, figure out what people's eyes mean when they say stuff. Build your confidence. You're willing to do that, then you should definitely go for comedy. And you definitely just, no matter what anybody tells you, just keep going. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you hit a brick wall, just keep going. It's that simple. But
Yes.
my
And
advice is definitely don't do
oh my God. Well, thank you so much, Eddie. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I can't wait to see you on a Netflix special.
it. Hopefully something bigger. But I appreciate you. Thanks for letting me on, though. Seriously.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a good night.
You do the same, love.
All right.